Alright, Arrow fans, time to take a look at the next episode of the day, which is Human Target. The scene opens with the montage of Church tormenting Wild Dog. Wild Dog guarantees that he won't split, yet Church says that it's not the trauma that will break Wild Dog, it's the dread of what comes straight away. In the interim, Oliver and his group are skating the lanes for an approach to discover Church. Subsequent to getting an ambiguous lead, they come back to the Arrow Cave, and Oliver acquaints the group with Diggle. Back at City Hall, Les gives Oliver a report on the now exhausted anti-crime unit, while Theo reminds Oliver that he needs to chip away at getting 4/5 greater part for a zoning proposition they have to get past. In a flashback, Anatoly and different pioneers of the Broadway enlist Oliver into the Russian mob. Artemis and Regman find where Church was holding Wild Dog, yet they've just moved him to another area. In any case, Lucy realizes her PC enhancement looking at Church's next likely location, but she guaranteed she would just tell Oliver. Sufficiently sure, Oliver discovers Church driving Wild Dog to cause his own downfall. Oliver sees Wild Dog, and Church escapes. Thereafter, Church concedes that he broke and disclosed to Church that Green Arrow was truly Oliver Queen. Oliver discovers that Church is arranging a significant medication solidification. However, is attempting to move Green Arrow before he orders his arrangement. Back at the Arrow Cave, Oliver sends his group to ensure different individuals from his loved ones. A short time later, Oliver has Diggle to question Wild Dog and get more subtleties on Church's arrangements. Diggle likewise recommends a partner to assist with switching things around at Church and says he'll be there in 24 hours. The following day, Oliver meets with a councilman and a journalist about his new zoning plans. Nonetheless, the councilman says he's not moving in light of the fact that the Queen family recently utilized free zoning to manufacture their high-rise. Lacey Snowball advises her, after an evening hookup, that she got an advancement to the anti-crime unit. Leslie Eliza says that Oliver knows what his identity is. Diggle attempts to talk to Wild Dog, through recalling something that could enable the group to battle Church. In any case, Wild Dog's, despite everything upset, he's been sidelined and says he can't recollect that anything. Church meets with Prometheus to berate him to back Green Arrow. Yet, Church came arranged and brought his own crack to the gathering. He takes a bolt and applied for Church without a shrug. After Prometheus gives another admonition, Church advises the professional killer that they're going to execute the civic chairman. They inquires as to why Oliver has a gathering planned with Susan Williams, the correspondent from Pryor, and Oliver believes that it's the most ideal approach to prevail upon her. He asks Susan to allow him 1 month to prevail upon her before distributing any longer assault articles about his organization. Susan concurs and gives him her own cell number. Back in Russia, one of the Bratva pioneers cautions Oliver that he'll never be a genuine individual from the Bratva, and that Oliver recognizes what the Bratva does to pariahs. Diggle reveals to Wild Dog about his torment from last season, when simply Andy tormented him for the benefit of Damien Dark. Wild Dog concedes that he keeps spoiling his life and reveals to Diggle that he wouldn't like to return to his best-in-class botch. Diggle persuades him that he needs to make sure to help Team Arrow. Oliver and Thea gets out the councilman from Pryor for him to conceal his actual plan, his property in the territory the Queen needs to redevelop, and coerces him. As he leaves City Corridor, Church's professional killer takes out Oliver's protector and afterwards shoots him on different occasions in the chest before escaping. Arrow declares that Oliver has died in a question and answer session. As Oliver and Team Arrow are gone, the dead Oliver strolls into the Arrow Cave, removes the elastic cover, and presents himself as Christopher Chase, the human target. Just how the death was organized to give Oliver more opportunity to bring down Church. Back in Russia, Oliver discloses to Anatoly that he's sulking over a lady, apparently Laurel, so Anatoly advises Oliver to call her. A short time later, Oliver sees the lady get annoyed by some other Bravo individuals and leaves after them to get some air. Oliver expresses gratitude toward Chance for acting like him in the afternoon. Chance reveals to Oliver that Oliver has an extraordinary life, and that Oliver should call Susan, and calmly specifies that Felicity has proceeded onward with her life, so he ought to as well. Diggle gets Wild Dog to recollect his time in Church's central command, which makes Wild Dog acknowledge he realizes what Church's arrangement is. Oliver faces Felicity about her new sweetheart and concedes that he was harmed and he was harmed, she didn't let him know. Felicity says that doesn't know. Lisa says she doesn't know whether things with her new sweetheart is not kidding, and their discussion gets cut off from Bookworm Diggle. Wild Dog's intel gives him a period and a spot for Church's enormous play to merge Darcy's medication exchange. Willie first needs to pass on the battle, however Diggle persuades him to get ready. Church meets with the other medication rulers before Chimera appears. When Mr. Terrific and Artemis battle the professional killer, Wild Dog follows Church for a subsequent time. Church escapes from Wild Dog, yet Green Arrow gets up to speed to the medication ruler in a holder and cuts him down. Church cautions Oliver about Prometheus before Green Arrow takes him out. Likewise, the human target gets the advantage on the professional killer, acting like one of Church's goons and afterwards shooting him. The following morning, Oliver uncovers that he was as yet alive. And says the fanging his demise prompted the police bringing down significant medication tasks in few urban communities. A short time later, Oliver thanks the human target for his assistance, afterward discloses to Felicity that the two of them have to proceed onward. It's so quick and clear that there still starts between the two, and they go through a strong 30 seconds. Making lovey eyes at one another. Back in Russia, Oliver goes up against the two other Brava individuals. However, it turns out it was a death endeavor. Fortunately, the Brava pioneer, the person who did Oliver dead before, appears, executes his two hooligans, and afterwards strolls away, before pulling off his face and covering himself to be the human target. Angela comes out and says that he realized the other mobster needed him dead, and that this was his method of dealing with it. Susan gets together with the government specialist, who gives her a photograph of Oliver in Russia when he should be on an island. The scene closes with the police transporting Church to jail. Prometheus shows up and brings down the whole emissary. Church reveals to Prometheus that Oliver Queen is a Green Arrow. However, Prometheus murders him in any case. Oh boy. So let's take a look at a trivia note from this episode. In the Inside the Arrow featurette for this episode, Winnie Merrill named the figure credited as Scimitar, a big DC Universe character, Scimitar. No such character is known in DC Comics, and the character was left unnamed. And now finally, let's take a look at a goof. When Oliver and Felicity are talking on the balcony, Felicity is wearing a light-colored dress under her sweater. Later in the next scene at the bunker, Felicity is wearing a black dress. So I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Church being opt, but oh well then, at least that's one less bad person to deal with, I guess, so yeah. So overall, I give Human Target 4 arrowheads out of 5. Well anyway, tune in as we took a look at the final episode of the day, So It Begins. So, until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.